Now, what if I told you that your entire external world is only a reflection of your internal state? Not in a fluffy, just think positive kind of way, but in a real, measurable, lived experience way. Every challenge that you keep bumping into, every opportunity that seems to miss you, every relationship pattern that you just can't quite break. What if those aren't random, but they're ripple effects? Ripple effects of your thoughts, your emotional baseline, your inner world quietly shaping your outer reality, whether you are aware of it or not. And in this video, I want to help you see how this actually works, but more importantly, how to intentionally work with it instead of against it. So let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up in a great mood and then you notice how the entire day just seems to flow? People seem to be friendlier. Small inconveniences don't derail you completely. You feel supported, capable, in sync. And then on another day, you wake up tense, rushed, in a hurry. Maybe you missed your alarm. Something happened right in the beginning of the day, and suddenly everything feels harder all day long. The traffic is worse. People are short with you. You hit obstacle after obstacle. Nothing seems to work. It's the same world, but it's your different inner state. And that's because your thoughts aren't just happening inside of you. They're acting like a silent architect, constantly shaping how you perceive, respond, and interact with reality. Your inner world determines what you notice, how you interpret events, how you show up in interactions, and what kind of outcomes you unconsciously invite or repel. So most people think that reality or their outside circumstances are happening to them. But in truth, reality is responding through you. It is reacting and responding to what you are displaying from your inner world, from your own identity. And this is where it gets really interesting. So every thought that you think triggers an emotion. Every emotion carries a charge. We've talked about vibrational currency in this channel. So that charge becomes your emotional current, your vibe, your energy, your presence, your vibration. And whether we acknowledge it or not, humans are incredibly sensitive to this. This is something in psychology called emotional contagion. So you felt this before and probably didn't even realize that it was an actual thing. So you walk into a room where someone is stressed, tense, or frustrated. You could just feel the heaviness of it as soon as you walk into that room. And without a single word being spoken, you just feel it. You feel like you're experiencing it yourself. Or you may interact with someone who is just grounded and confident and calm, and you leave feeling more regulated yourself. There's something that just draws you to that. You have an inner peace just being in the presence of somebody who is at peace themselves. So your inner state is always communicating to everybody who is outside around you in quite a large radius, much more than we might think. So to your nervous system, to other people's nervous systems, and to the decisions that you make moment to moment. So this communication is constantly going on. It's helping to make these decisions every single moment of every day. Now, your mindset, if it's rooted in stress, that is going to tend to create reactive decisions. It is going to narrow your perception. It is going to increase friction. If you have a mindset that is rooted in trust and clarity, that is going to tend to expand possibilities. It allows you to see opportunities that you might have missed before. It improves your communication. It increases your attraction and cooperation and flow. And this isn't magic. This is simply alignment, right? When we get these inner states aligned, that which we desire, then it's like everything just starts to flow. You see things that you wouldn't have seen before. So let's take this another layer deeper. So your inner state doesn't just affect how you feel, it influences what shows up in your life. not because the universe is rewarding or punishing you, but because your inner patterns create predictable outer outcomes. Remember that the universe is just responding to that which you're giving it, right? It is going to just match whatever you're putting out there. It doesn't judge what you're feeling. It doesn't think, oh, this is bad, so I'm going to give you something bad. It just says, okay, this is what you're putting out there, and then it matches it and brings the same thing back to you. Right? So again, it's not rewarding or punishing it. It is simply responding and putting out predictable outcomes, right? Based on your inner patterns. And here's how that works. So when you consistently expect things to go wrong, you become hyper-focused on that threat. You're going to miss opportunities. You hesitate. You subtly self-protect yourself instead of self-express. And that becomes a self-fulfilling loop. We all know these people who just go into every situation. They say, oh, well, that's just my luck. Oh, I expect that this just isn't going to work out for me, or whatever it is. We know these people. And sure enough, that keeps happening, right? They keep having the bad luck, and they keep blaming their outer circumstances and blaming other people for whatever is happening to them. But on the other hand, if your inner world is anchored in self-trust, in worthiness, in possibility, in just expecting the best outcome in every situation, then you're going to take different actions. You're going to speak differently. You show up more fully. You show up as your full self, your authentic self. You recognize opportunities faster. So these could be the exact same external circumstances, the exact same thing happening to two different people with very different internal states, and they're going to have completely different results. So your inner world acts like a filter. Right? So whatever matches that filter is going to get amplified and is going to bring more of that to you. So the question becomes, if your inner world is creating this ripple effect, how do you work with it intentionally? How do you make it create the things that you actually desire and not bringing more of the things that you do not want? So the very first step, awareness without judgment. Remember, I said the universe is not judging good or bad. It is simply giving back to you that which you're asking for, that which you're putting out, consciously or unconsciously. So you want to start noticing your dominant thoughts and emotional patterns without trying to fix them immediately. So ask yourself, what state am I operating from most often? The second thing that you want to do is look at your emotional regulation over emotional suppression. This is not about bypassing feelings. We want to make sure that we feel our feelings, but we need to feel, process, and release them. We're not burying them deep down. We're not ignoring them. We do want to feel them, but we also don't want to dwell on them, right? So this is about learning how to process them so they do not unconsciously drive your behavior. So if you have feelings of anger, frustration, overwhelmment, whatever it is, if you have these feelings come up, and they're real feelings, they're going to happen to all of us at some point or another. But the thing is, we need to acknowledge that we're having these feelings. We need to allow ourselves to feel them. We need to process them and release them so we can move on and get back to a better vibrational state. So we want to do this with slow breathing, grounding, pausing before reacting, right? You want to think through things before we just immediately jump to reactions. And then third, we want to have an intentional thought framework. So this is not forced positivity. We're not just trying to say, oh, think positive, but we're having empowered interpretation. Our perception means everything. So instead of asking yourself, why does this always happen to me? Try asking, what is this showing me about where I'm operating from? So whatever the circumstance is, whatever it is that you're bringing into you, what is that showing you about your current inner state? And then at the end of each day, you can ask yourself, what did my inner state create today? And just observe, again, without judgment. We are just gaining information here so that we know where we're currently at and where we can make adjustments, right? And then you're going to start seeing these ripple effects everywhere. And this happens to me all the time. If I don't have, like, my morning routine gets interrupted in some way, or something happens and I'm not able to take that time to set myself up intentionally for the day, I notice that day usually does not go as well unless I can have another minute in the day where I can stop for a second and reframe and refocus and get myself back into the place where I'd like to be. So this is the part though that most people miss. And when you shift your inner world, it doesn't just change your life. It changes the lives of everyone you touch, everyone you interact with. Your calm is going to help regulate others. Your clarity inspires others. Your grounded presence creates safety and possibility for others. This is how personal transformation becomes a collective impact. So think of the people that you are impacting. This is the ripple effect of your inner world. It is not just changing your life, your day-to-day interactions, but the way that you show up. You are creating a difference in every single other person as well. And then think of the difference that they're going on to make. It's a beautiful effect. So this just proves that you are not powerless. You are a tuning fork. And when you align your inner world intentionally, your outer world has no choice but to respond. So stop chasing external solutions to your internal problems. You have to start where the ripple begins, the point where you put the stone in the water that is internal. This is where we have to start our work, because everything else is just a reaction to this, to our internal selves and what we are showing up like inside. So if this resonated, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this and ways that you can use this information and help it to impact your business growth and make sure that you're hitting those goals and visions that you have for 2026, then make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss a single video. And as always, expect prosperity.